Our definition of a true business is a commercial, profitable business that works without you. That's the true definition of a business. But what's the purpose? And for us, the purpose of a business is to profitably create raving fans that create excess income for wealth creation. It's as simple as that. To profitably create raving fans with excess income for wealth creation. And no one better than Jodi, our next speaker, to help us with that, because we've had a long association with Citadel. Citadel Wealth Management are some of my favorites. I think there's lots of shysters out there. I think there's a lot of average out there. And then you have, in the world-class kind of bunch, you have people like Citadel who are value-based wealth managers who care about you and your life and your lifestyle. Now, why we've specifically asked Jodi to join us is because she's going to talk the thing that most people avoid like plague: money, wealth creation. It's the source of sometimes our biggest stress, yet it's something we also avoid. Why? And the other thing that happens, and I think it is changing, but still too often we abdicate responsibility for the wealth of the family to the husband or to the male in the family. They don't necessarily also know what the hell they're doing. So very important that we've got a woman speaking to a woman around taking back your money, your wealth creation, and making sure that you build a business that serves you, that creates excess income for wealth creation. So Jodi, really a pleasure to have you here. I love what you guys do as a company, and you will see Jodi makes money and finance and wealth kind of interesting and something that you almost want to go after, rather than the economist that will scare the hell out of you and you don't want to go after it. So thanks so much for joining us, and really looking forward to learning from you today.
Thanks, Harry. I appreciate it. Happy Women's Month. So when I was asked to talk, I was very excited about this topic because I'm passionate about women and money and educating women within the money environment. One thing, let me just give you a bit of a background of Citadel and why Harry said we are different to any other service provider. We are here to give you the best advice. I'm not selling you any product, any investments. I'm here to understand your holistic plan and to ensure that you have enough money off the table when you do retire. And I mean, I was listening to the women and they speak amazingly about creating the wealth. The one thing is linked to preserving the wealth. So Harry mentioned when you're an entrepreneur or an employee, you want to create as much wealth as possible that at one particular point you would like to retire. What amount do you need? We can determine how much money you need to set aside that when you stop working, you have enough money to support your standard that you're accustomed to. So at Citadel, I love every day because of the fact that I meet with different people with different solutions, with different plans that I have to develop with them. The one important aspect is that not one shoe fits all at our approach, at a Citadel approach. Every roadmap, every journey is different. Every solution is different. So please, ladies and men that are sitting on the call, please be wary of people selling you products. Do you need those products is my question. Why are they selling you those products? Are they giving you the best advice? So what Harry pointed out is women like ourselves potentially shy away when it comes to money. It maybe is the way we were brought up, but what's important from our side is we need to be educated because we want to be independent. We do not want to be reliant on our spouse, on our partner, anyone to support our standard that we are accustomed to. And that's important from my side, from my understanding and our planning. And that's why we're passionate about helping women grow their wealth, grow their voice, grow their presence within this environment. This environment is very male dominated, as we know, and it's very nice to be sitting around a table talking to very prestigious, high-powered individuals that want to educate themselves. And that's what I like to do. when it comes to money, it's important to understand your budget. So one aspect that we always look to maybe shy away from is how much money do we spend every month? Because we potentially are having our hair done, our nails done, our, buying entertainment. So we don't want to actually put a number to that. But it's important to put a number to it because we need to ensure that the money you're earning is enough to pay your bills. What's also important is to ensure that you start saving. It's all about consistent good decisions. It's not about saving that whatever lump sum immediately. It's about making the consistent good decision to save. And by doing that, that will grow your money. Also, it's not about just putting your money in a bank account for a rainy day, because that also doesn't help, because that's not being smart about your money. That's being lazy. That's calling what we call lazy money, money that's sitting there and going backwards. We don't like lazy money. We're not lazy ourselves. So why must our money be lazy? It must work for us. So what I've seen in my experience and my knowledge is that you can make more money in your business, but what we try and do is preserve the money you've created within your business and take it outside your business or take it away from the monthly budgeting expenses that you're accustomed to. And we separate what we call your wealth creation, what's going to make you wealthier, to what we call wealth preservation, what we believe will preserve, what we take responsibility to do to preserve that wealth. Now, when we talk about these two silos, it's very important to understand they have different rules and different requirements. Wealth creation is going to make you wealthier. By the term creating wealth, how do you create wealth is your involvement. And that's very important. And I'm sure Harry at ActionCOACH, if you've all been involved with him, he speaks importantly about your active involvement in your business to drive your business, because you're the only person that can grow that business and understands that business and has the competitive advantage to grow it. So that's the wealth creation. Also, you take risks, calculated risks, but you take risks and you focus in one sector. You don't focus in 20 sectors and hope that the one will come out to be the best sector. You understand your niche and you focus on that niche, which is important. Also in business, and I'm just talking on Harry's side, it's good to also have debt in business, because not too much debt, but it's also important that you have debt within your business to grow it. And by doing that, you take your business to the next level. So debt is good in business. But what I want to talk about is the other side. Let's talk at the other side of the coin. Once you start preserving the wealth you've created, it's called wealth preservation. That is something that Citadel believes we are the expert in. We understand how to preserve the wealth that entrepreneurs and employees have created. But what's important from our side, it is completely opposite rules to creating wealth. So when I say involvement in creating wealth is good and is encouraged, in wealth preservation, emotions is bad, let's call it. You shouldn't be emotional about preserving your wealth. And why do I talk about that? You need somebody who's independent, looking out for your right interests. Also, that is not getting paid by a service provider. So listen to me, ladies. You must understand what's important is they get paid by you as the client. So like you have your client relationships and you bill your companies for services rendered, it's the same principle with somebody that's advising you. They shouldn't be incentivized by other financial institutions to sell you anything. Whereas at Citadel, we only get paid by our clients. Our clients only pay us. If we get any incentives because we placed your money with the service provider, we don't give it to our clients. So you need to be independent and objective. So that's important. And strip out the emotion. Whereas business loves emotion. The more emotional you are within your business, the greater it is. You need to be clinical within the wealth preservation area. And that's important because I'm just talking about the past 6 months, let's call it even 7 months of what's happened in the world. If we look at the past 7 months, we saw January, and I'm just talking high level, interest rate hikes in the US, these have had a significant impact on the rest of the asset sector classes. When interest rate hikes, people get fearful and they run out of global equities, companies that they were invested in, and they run to safe haven asset classes. That happened in January. Then we talk about Russia. Then we had in the February period 2 weeks of settlement within the market. Then we talk about Russia, Ukraine. That has had a massive impact on the whole globe. And the impact has been so vast that it's affected the oil industry, the food industry. It's had a ripple effect on all other economies. But it's also had an effect on if your money was invested in these companies, you would have had a massive drawdown. So that's had a massive effect on clients' wealth preservation that they've preserved. Now, emotions, like an entrepreneur would say, I need to sell out now, but it's not clever to do that because it's important to understand when did you need the money. If you needed the money tomorrow, would we have put you in that investment profile that resulted in you having a drawdown, a reduction in your portfolio? No, we wouldn't have. So it's important to understand we take the right timing risks, and that's important. We also plan for when do you need the money. If you needed the money tomorrow, like I said, you would keep it in a bank account. But if you don't need the money tomorrow and it's a 5-year plus plan, it would be invested in a diversified portfolio, but specifically have an allocation to global equities. And that's important to understand because we need to take the emotion out and sit on our hands during this period. July has been it's not brilliant month, but the market has started to recover. And our clients are seeing that because it's important to understand that returns do come back. The market does come back, but it's just a matter of time. And how long can you weather that storm? Also, with a wealth preservation portfolio, you shouldn't borrow against your house to create this portfolio or move money offshore because your banker said the currency is looking very favorable, take your money offshore. That's not a good investment philosophy, and it goes against our principles. So business likes debt, preserving wealth, you shouldn't have any debt. So this should come from extra money that you have saved during your month annual bonus budgeting phase, where we go through that. Also, what's important from our side is invest across the globe. The more diversified you are, the greater the chance of growth and the less the volatility. In your business, what's important is be concentrated. Specifically focus on a sector. Do not spread yourself too thin across different sectors. Whereas wealth preservation across the globe is the best opportunities. To only invest in South Africa, that is limiting your growth opportunities. South Africa is 0.6% of the world economy. Why would you only invest in South Africa? So diversification is very important. Also, from my experience, you need to know what is that magic number that you're working towards. We don't want to work till we're 90. We want to work because we want to enjoy what we do at some point. We work at this point because we have to, maybe, to pay our bills, but at some point it becomes a choice. So it starts to turn around to say, am I working for enjoyment or because I have to? Once you've saved enough money, that choice is yours. You can make that decision to say, I actually want to now retire, or I love what I do, but I don't need to work as hard because I've saved enough. Or you can start to dream a bit. So what I mean by that, once you've preserved enough money and set aside from your business, you can say, now I'll take more risks within my business opportunities, because if it does fail, I haven't sacrificed any of the wealth I've preserved. So that's very important from our side, but we work it out for you. So we design this lifelong, it sounds complicated, but it's a lifelong budget, for a better word, where we say, what is your current age today? And if you were to live till 90, how much money do you need in this current environment. So we help you work that out. We also develop a strategy specifically for you and your family to understand exactly the timing of the money. Like I said before, it's important to take the right timing and the right risks involved in that timing process. So we help you design that process, that strategy. We also are very proactive in our approach. We meet with our clients on a regular basis. We believe that we need to educate our clients. The more educated you are, the better off you are from understanding our thinking and our philosophy. It's not about another product will make you wealthier. That's not the case. It's about making the consistent good decisions. And Warren Buffett always speaks about consistency. He believes in the power of compounding and making the right decisions with that. So from my side, it is always interesting to meet women because I meet different women. The CEO of households also are my clients. And those CEO of households, the biggest risk I find with them is they're not aware of their own finances. They allow the husband or the other spouse, whoever it is, to run the expenses. That results in a significant amount of risk to the individual, be it yourself. Why do I mean that? What happens if the husband were to pass away? What happens for divorce? These are all situations that potentially you need to look at and cater for. And this is very important to be educated in this process. Also to be knowledgeable with your husband, to sit in on those discussions. What I have seen through these discussions is generally the wife sits back and allows the spouse or the breadwinner to take on these conversations. And it shouldn't be the case. It should be a collective joint venture where you go in and you have a conversation about your future planning. We also look, what's important from our side is the fiduciary aspect. So we talk about preserving the wealth, but it's also about, what about my will? Is my will up to date? Because if your will is out of date, that's a huge concern for the wealth you've created. So you need to look at your fiduciary aspects to ensure that they tick the boxes from the current law that we're currently living in. Also structuring. I mean, I can talk about how should I invest my money? Should it be in my personal name? Should it be in a company structure? Should I keep it in my business separate and say that I've preserved the wealth? Should I move it offshore? There's so many different avenues, different opportunities, depending on your requirements. So from our side, it's always important to understand your future plans and your future strategies. So when I meet with a family for the first time, I always say, tell me about yourself. Tell me about your plan. I don't want you to hear about my plan for you. I want to know about your plan and your future requirements. And where do you think you're going to live? Would you live here in South Africa? Would you live abroad? Do you have kids abroad? Are you buying a home? Do you have debt? So these are all questions we try and cover in the first meeting, because debt in business is good, but debt in your personal life is not good. So that's also something we touch on, and we don't just touch on it, we try and reduce your debt as much as possible. So we look at the full aspect, a holistic plan. And at the end of the day, what I like to point out to my clients is we work with you. We don't work against you. We don't work selling you anything. We work with you to create this plan. Every year, we relook at your plan and say, is it working for you? How do we create the next year? Because to make a 40-year plan and not stick to it, there's no benefit. If you've got milestones that you need to tick and need to adhere to, that makes it achievable, as opposed to you want to achieve it and not be stuck in the fact that I will never achieve this in my 40-year career path. That's not our plan. Our plan is to empower you as the individual and to ensure that during this journey, you can see the opportunities. We go through this journey with our clients, we meet with them, and what I ask of every individual is to be open-minded, because there is no reason why we can't go through this journey and be honest and transparent. Because at the end of the day, we want to build a long-term relationship with our clients. Also, what I want to point out from our side, just a Citadel perspective, is we only look after families. We are not here to look after institutions. Our main focus is families and individuals and growing that family unit. We're currently managing about 80 billion Rand worth of family money, but what we're mostly proud of is our retention ratio. A lot of people talk about, yes, I can help you, but we walk the journey with our clients. That's been our motto, our philosophy. Our client retention ratio is 99%. That speaks volumes to what we believe we achieve for our clients. We have been in the industry for 30 years. So in our field, we believe we are the experts. We believe we are well positioned to help any individual if they're willing to take advice. That's the word. They're willing to accept and take the advice, because a lot of people think they can do it themselves. And by all means, let them try. But one principle that I did mention is you need to be objective. You shouldn't have a family member, friend, anyone managing your own money. You should have a business relationship with an individual managing your own money. So maybe let me open up to some questions, see some views, because I can see a lot of people asking questions. But Harry, I don't know if you want to assist.
Absolutely. And I think, great that one must look at this holistically and take back that empowered role of your own finances, because it is such a critical part of us. So let's maybe start with Teresa's comment, because I think it's a good question too. She says she's hopeless when it comes to money. Where does one start?
But first of all, that's a very good starting point, to accept that you can't do it. So I think that's important. You've come to me to say, I'm hopeless. No one's hopeless. We know that. But you've accepted that you don't understand money. Therefore, you need somebody who's not selling you anything to give you the right advice and partner with you on this journey. And that's important from our side. So it's just the acceptance that you can't do it all.
Absolutely. And I think Peter's comment here too, critical not to have family and friends managing your money. Take it to a professional. So Joy asked the question, because I agree with you, but it's a very important question that she asks for a bit of context. How is debt in your business good?
It takes not too much debt. So I go, and Harry, you can agree with me, debt takes your business to another level, but it's also got to be well serviced, that you can afford to pay off the debt. So debt, depending on where you want to take the business, it could be a small, medium-sized business and you're happy with that. But if you want to grow the business, sometimes it's better to use the bank's funding because it's cheaper than using your own money. But you need to plan properly and make sure that you can repay those debts. And that's important, depending on your plan for the money. If it's to take dividends out, debt might not be the best way. But if it's to grow it to the next level, yes, there is opportunity for the bank to step in and assist you. But that's all about your planning within your business environment.
Absolutely. And I think just on that point around debt, a good rule of thumb for debt is if the debt is going to make you money,
correct,
potentially healthy debt. If it's not going to make you money, then it's bad debt. So debt for a holiday, well, a holiday's not going to make you money. It'd be great, but a delivery vehicle, and I had a client recently buy it cash against good advice and sucked up a whole lot of his working capital, but the debt on the delivery vehicle, the vehicle's making you money. That's good debt. So that's a good way to
Agreed. And lifestyle. So Harry, you touched on a very good point. To go on a holiday, to have debt. No. If you cannot afford to go on a holiday, you do not go on a holiday, because the worst thing you can do is create more debt for yourself. So it goes into our lifestyle category. I can talk for hours on this. I love the topics, but lifestyle is something where at some point you need to pay for cash. So if you want to take a holiday and you've got enough extra money set aside, by all means, you can enjoy your holiday. But if you can't afford to take a holiday, it's not worth going on holiday knowing that you're going to come back in 2 weeks' time with no money. So you need to balance that out.
Absolutely. So I think Fatima made two important comments. One is that she came from a previously disadvantaged family, and didn't learn about money. And, I think it was Teresa that rightfully said, even privileged families today don't teach people about money. But when she was divorced, she ended up in an ocean not knowing how to swim. And it's not the right time to be drowning at that stage. But you spoke about death, divorce, things happening that we have no control of. You must see often how it's gone wrong, where people have not been empowered from a knowledge perspective. The requirements are not in place, and then it goes wrong. What does that do to a family after that person's no longer here?
But even, for example, you're an entrepreneur. So we talk about death and divorce as one of the scenarios. But what about if your business fails? What about that? That can destroy a family, because we or entrepreneurs can get up and continue to make money. The kids are the ones that suffer. The ones that were accustomed to a certain lifestyle are the ones that you're taking away from. So from my side, you need to align yourself, like I said, with somebody you trust, you can build a relationship with, and you can grow in your knowledge. So it's not about just growing the money, it's about growing your knowledge. Even though the affluent families don't talk about money. Money is a taboo subject. It's a conversation that no one talks about around a table, which things need to change, because money is an important aspect of our everyday life. You need to educate even your kids on it. But divorce is something that, first of all, emotionally devastates the family, but financially can devastate the family. And if you don't know how to handle the money once you receive it, or what you're asking for from your spouse, it becomes problematic, because all you will be doing is chasing the money that you don't even know how much you need. So it is a topic that we talk a lot about, and it's a topic that it starts from education, like I said, but it's not education going back to school. It's about having these conversations with other women, knowing how they've experienced life and listening and taking their advice. And that's where I think is important.
So the last two quick questions, because I think they are interrelated, although it may not seem like that. But Danae says, is it worth putting money into retirement funding? Because it really grows at a snail's pace.
So, why are you lying?
Oh, sorry, I don't know. That's not me. No one's screaming here. So from my side, so retirement annuities, accountants hate me, because retirement annuities they're forcing you to save tax today for future problems later on, potentially, because you're kicking the taxable obligation down the road. They say, let's not pay your tax this year or biannually, whatever taxpayer you are, let's pop it into a retirement annuity. It's got a lot of rules and regulations that don't allow your money to grow as efficiently as if you had what we call open architecture. It is restricted to South Africa with a small component abroad, of course, but it's South African centric. Also, when you do take benefit from your retirement annuity or whatever savings you've been locked into, you don't know what the taxable position will be in that period. My view is I'd rather pay my taxes and have my money to decide how I want to invest it and have that view. If I want to physically move it all offshore, I can do that. So, and get better growth. But it's different per individual. And I know we are running out of time, but it's all based on, it's a cup of coffee. So what I'm asking all women today is to be open about it and have that cup of coffee with somebody you trust.
So last one, because it's topical and I don't think we're ever going to get away from this. Question from Sasha. What is your view on crypto and business investments outside of the normal core stuff that you do?
So we don't do crypto at all, because it's, first of all, it's a asset class we don't understand. So let me start by that. It's something that, and our economists say that we don't understand this particular asset class. So we do not believe in it. High risk, high return, yes, but high risk, you can also get wiped out completely on the downside. So it's not just about the return. You need to ensure that when you go into a crypto investment, you've preserved enough money, that you're not going in there to gamble your money away. So that's important from our side. Is We don't put it in our asset allocation, but if you would like to invest in it, just make sure that you've set enough money aside that if you lose it all, you're not going to be worse off. And that's important.
Great advice, Jodi. Thank you very much. And it's the old hierarchy of money. You have low risk first before you have high risk. And if you've got enough low risk and medium risk, then gamble all you want. I think that's a good philosophy for money. So really appreciate that. I think taking from you is the importance to, whether you grew up with it or not, because most people didn't, you have to get an understanding, you have to get a grasp on it, and to talking to the right people who will partner with you on that holistic view, like Citadel does. It's very important. So Jodi.